Hello. Good afternoon. Folks hear me okay in the back? Woo! Hello. All right, everybody. Folks hear me okay in the Welcome back? To RootsCamp. Woo! All right, I am everybody. So excited that this day is Welcome here, that you are all here. My name is Amy Pritchard, and I am the founder of Gain Power and the host of RootsCamp, and I'm just so excited to be here with you all. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that we are gathered on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Susquehannock and the Piscataqua people. We honor the indigenous stewards of this land, past, present, and future, and commit to supporting indigenous-led movements and sovereignty. I also want to acknowledge something that a very good friend of mine raised this morning. As awful as this moment in history feels, the truth is life has been hard for so many marginalized communities who have rarely, perhaps never, felt safe here. Some of us, from very privileged backgrounds, have not felt the threats that so many live with every day. So if this discomfort is new to you, and I expect it is for some, please recognize that. Since RootsCamp's founding in 2006 by the New Organizing Institute, how many were in the early RootsCamp days? How many of you have been to early RootsCamp? Woo! A lot of awesome. RootsCamp has been the cornerstone of our movement building space. This space exists for organizers, activists, change makers to reflect, to learn, to strategize after elections. Through its evolution, from NOI to Wellstone Action, to Repower, and now to Gain Power, along with Netroots Nation, Organizing 2.0, the Democracy Initiative, RootsCamp remains committed to empowering grassroots leaders and building collective power. And that mission is more crucial today than ever. We didn't decide, as many of you know, to move forward doing RootsCamp until December 9th, less than 2 months ago. It was a tough moment. Many in our movement were grappling with deep sadness and uncertainty about the election results. But, and I don't know if Julia Rosen's here yet. Is she in the room yet? I know she gets here tomorrow. Okay. Well, for many, but I wanted to name Julia, posted on a LinkedIn post that we needed RootsCamp more than ever. And so many chimed in on that post, so many weighed in, that this was a moment that really needed community. And so as the last organizers, Gain Power actually organized the 2020 RootsCamp, which was only virtual, we offered to create this space. And I'm so glad that so many of you have signed up to be here today. I'm not going to lie, it's been hard. It was hard after the elections, and then came the holidays, and this new year has brought so many challenges, from the chaotic transition of Congress, the devastating wildfires in California, the tragic plane crash, and of course what's happened with this administration since it took over just over 2 weeks ago. What they're doing, while maybe expected, still just feels so wrong. And for those who don't know me, and many of you don't, I do want to acknowledge I've been working in the democracy space for over 30 years. I've actually worked in over 30 countries. I've worked on the ground in 26 countries for USAID-funded projects. And I have many friends who work for them today, or may still be working for them, unclear. What's happening right now is unprecedented, well, maybe expected. And this experience has shown me, and I think all of you know this, so I don't need to say it, but what our country does in other countries through humanitarian aid and through international development programs and projects. My work has always been in the democracy space, but it's so much bigger than that. It is food programs, it is health programs, it is education programs. These are being devastated right now, and millions of lives are quite literally at stake. And as we all know, USAID is just the beginning. Someone said to me the other day, and I think this is real, they were testing what they could do with an agency that very few care about here, sadly, that doesn't have a constituency, really. But we know exactly what they have planned for the Department of Education. We know what they have planned for the Department of Labor and so many more agencies and departments within our government. So this moment coming here in community is needed more than ever. They want to attack us, they want to attack our schools, they want to attack our communities and our very democracy. They're trying to weaken government's ability to serve people while enriching themselves and their allies. But this global and domestic perspective has only strengthened my personal conviction about what's at stake, and I expect that's true for all of you as well. That's why we're here. The fierce urgency of now, as Dr. Martin Luther King once said, isn't just about the issues that we all work on. It's about the communities that we serve. It isn't about one agency or one program. Right now, it's about defending an entire infrastructure of democracy and progress that generations before us built. It's about protecting the tools and the institutions, and for us, creating positive change both here and around the world. This has been a lot to deal with while trying to organize this event. And honestly, some of the support we expected didn't come through, but we decided to go forward anyway. Our team, and I want to acknowledge them for a minute. I'm not going to name everyone, but you're going to meet some of them. Our team worked through the holidays. We literally worked Christmas Day. We worked New Year's Eve. We worked every day to make this event happen. I'm standing here representing Gain Power, but our team represents so many more organizations. And I would like our staff, consultants, and organizers, some of you are standing in the back, some of you see to just wave your hands. I just want to thank all of you, volunteers, this really was a community, it is a community effort. Their unwavering commitment is what makes RootsCamp so special and why we're here today. As the stewards of this event, we are committed to the community, to the organizations that not just created this entity or created this space, but serve our movements today. And I see so many of you representing all the organizations. I see organizers, campaigners, activists, donors, foundation leaders, social justice advocates, tech folks, all sorts. Some of you have been in this fight for 50 years. Some of you have only been in it for 5 months, and that's okay. This space is for anyone who is fighting for our democracy, for our progressive movements, more importantly, for the people of this country. No matter what your experience, we know you're here because you believe in the power of collective action. And so we thank you for being here. I also want to make sure to thank, and we had them up, we don't apparently have them now, but the many sponsors who helped make sure this event happened. There's some of them are in the room. We're going to do a special thank you event a little bit later for our sponsors. I'll tell you about that in the overview. I also really want to thank the staff of the Maritime Conference Center where we are today. This is a union facility. I don't know who of them, if any of them are in the room right now, but please, when you see them, thank them. They have been extraordinary to work with. Cannot tell you what a pleasure and a joy they've been to work with, and I'm just so grateful for all of them. I know so many of you traveled to be here, so thank you for that as well. This moment in our history is not normal, and we're not going to treat it as such. We're not going to let the MAGA vision of America normalize what they're doing. We are going to stand up. We are standing up to their bullying and their fascism, and we are going to start doing it from here. We're going to start doing it in our states and our communities and our organizations. I'm looking around the room, and I still see a lot of empty seats. Many more people are coming. We have over 330 people signed up to be here in person, representing 43 states, representing 161 organizations, and over 800 more signed up to be part of our virtual events. This is what the urgency and the commitment and movement building look like. So over the next few days, and you're going to hear a lot more from others about this, but over the next few days, we have over 68 breakout sessions focus on extracting lessons from our victories and our setbacks, from adapting those lessons from the elections and doing better going forward, taking concrete steps before we leave this space. One thing that I asked of all the panelists when they submitted panels, and you're going to hear more about the open unconference part of this, but some of this is planned and some of this is not planned, and some of this is going to happen very organically. If you're not comfortable with that, you probably haven't been to a RootsCamp before. That is part of what RootsCamp is all about, is we do a lot of it on the fly. And that's, again, the sort of brilliance of it. It is not meant to be a completely structured, organized event. It is meant to come from the organizers and to bring the stories that they want to share, the stories they want to tell, the lessons they want us all to learn. We are all here as students, and we are all here as teachers. I believe, I hope, many of you have never met, that you're going to walk away with lifelong friendships here, and I'm excited to watch that happen. We are the people who are going to represent so many, and do represent currently, so many vulnerable communities who are depending upon us. I'm guessing each one of you gets a call, a text, a DM, a social saying, what are we going to do? What are we doing now? And this is just part of it. But your mission from this event is to take what you've learned, what you've gathered, and bring it back home, wherever home may be. Bring it back to your communities. Make sure that you are leading, because we desperately need leaders right now. I'm going to give it just a few small housekeeping things, and then I'm going to move on and introduce our next speaker. It's important for folks to know, Gain Power is actually a social impact LLC. We operate in many ways like a media platform, which means we are not a partisan organization, but we have many strong values and perspectives about our political leadership. We oppose, it's worth stating, all things related to Trump, MAGA, and anything connected to their supporters. This space has traditionally been one for reflection, for looking at the work we have done, the lessons that we have learned, and learning from them. It has not traditionally been, and I'm not saying it can't be, or shouldn't be, but it has not traditionally been a planning event for the future. It's very much a reflection space. We have a partner organization. Some of you are now familiar with it, Global Gain. It's also, not surprisingly with the name, an organization I also started. It is a 501c3 organization. And many of our donors made contributions to it so that we could waive the fees and so that we could provide travel scholarships and stipends for some of you to be here. Because of that, this is a C3 compliant event. What that means, I am not a lawyer, I need to actually say that. I did talk to my lawyer before this event. I got my talking points. What that means is some of what I've already just said. We can talk about the past in any way, shape, or form that we want to without limitation. We are in a space right now that is commingling people from a lot of different types of organizations, people who are coming from C3s, people who are coming from C4s, from consulting firms, from PACs, from campaigns. There is no firewall here, because what we are talking about is something that has already happened. That does not mean we can't or shouldn't talk about the future, okay? And in the moment that we're in, we clearly need to talk about the future. It simply means that we, as the organizers of this event, cannot do it in a partisan way. We cannot advocate or even talk about winning elections for Democrats in 25 and 26. That doesn't mean that you as individuals who are here representing different organizations can't talk about what you do in your life and in the room. It just simply means the conversations and the topics cannot be organized on our behalf. So I just want to make sure that I made this point loudly on video for my lawyers. But in all seriousness, we're all under threat right now. This is a really serious moment, and we need to protect each other, and we need to protect our institutions. And I also want to protect not only the C3 organization that I help run, but the donors who supported it as well. So that's very important to me. We asked a few panels not to either happen, or we asked them to change their names. Again, that does not mean you can't talk about things in the room and what you want to do and how you want to do it. It simply means the sessions cannot be about Democrats winning. Progressives, liberals, left to center, totally fine. Everyone got that? Awesome. That's my core housekeeping moment. All right. With that, I am going to introduce our next speaker, who I am thrilled that he is able to be here with us. Reggie Hubbard is a dear and personal friend of mine, and a dear and incredible friend of our progressive movement. I'm not exaggerating when I say, and he's heard me say this before, but I feel the need to say it pretty regularly, especially when he's in the room, but often when he's not too, that he quite literally saved my life during the pandemic. And I know not just mine, so many others, by creating space for bringing us together and for holding events and practice that allowed us to be in community when we were all separate and apart. And through that process, and I'm not going to speak for him, he'll speak very much for himself, but Reggie comes from our community, our movement space. He's worked on campaigns, he's worked for organizations, he's worked for Move On, but over the last few years, he's really transitioned to be a spiritual leader in our space, and I thought it was really essential to have that both in you personally, but also have it as a moment for all of us to really center the moment that we're in and to bring a sense of vision and a sense of personal practice for us. So I'm so thrilled you're here, Reggie. Bonus that he lives down the street. But Reggie has had an incredibly tough year. I'm sure you'll share a little bit about it, but he experienced a stroke this year, a life-threatening stroke, that I know changed his perspective on a lot of things. And I'm just so grateful you have come through it, that you're here with us, and that you're here today. So thank you. Thank you all. I look forward to having so many conversations with you, and thanks again for being here.
Hello? Y'all gonna leave me hanging like that? Like, I refuse. Thank you. Hello? Right on. And shout out to those on camera, because my teaching practice was born online, so this is cool. But this energy translates all over the world, right? So shout out to those on the computer. I want to give gratitude for Amy's generous introduction. I want to give gratitude for y'all for being here, for allowing me to be here before you. Just a quick question, because I'm an organizer. I need to know who I'm with and your familiarity with me. Who here has heard of me or been on a Zoom or been in my Netroots classes, etc.? Cool. Who? Thank you, Heather. Who here has not? Well, I promise you, you ain't never going to forget me, because there's only one. There's only one brother on the planet like this. I want us to consider, the question I want to start with is, all things considered, how are you holding up? Right? Right. And be honest about it, right? So all things considered, how are you holding up? Maybe you give voice to it. I'm pretty fucking mad. That's how I'm holding up. Right? For those of you that don't like cursing, you clearly didn't see what we did in impeachment. We impeached that one, right? So we got that. So if you're sad, maybe you think out loud or say, I am sad. Like, for real, like say it. Like, you can't heal what you don't feel. So all things considered, how are you holding up?
Man, let's go fuck this bullshit.
Okay, Ashe. All right. Where are my sad people? Angry. Thank you. Sadness. Anxious. Disappointment. Fear. Terrified. Where's my disillusion at? Disillusion. Shout out to disillusion. Right? Burnt out. Okay. Okay, burnt up. All right. Okay, right. So did y'all feel the energy shift when you gave voice to how you were feeling instead of just sitting on it? Don't get Black Hippie started. Did you feel the energy shift when you gave voice to how you feel as opposed to, I'm fine. How in the hell can you be fine right now? Real talk, okay? How can you be fine? So shout out to my earlier conversation for that dime, like all things considered, how are you holding up? Now that we've given space to that and been honest with it, I want to welcome y'all to Maryland. Like, this is I live 7 miles down the street. Like, this is like the easiest speaking engagement of my whole life. Right? They're like, can we help you find the place? I'm like, child, it is 7.2 miles. Right? And I even cut on the GPS so I could hear how close it was. Right? It wasn't like flying to an airport or all these other things. And it is Black History Month. Okay? So any reckoning of conversation about liberation in this nation that doesn't include the celebration of Black history, I can't feel that. And in Maryland, we got a special type of Negro. We are the home of Frederick Douglass. We are the home of Harriet Tubman. We are the home of Thurgood Marshall. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but we are the type of Black people that ain't taking this shit and never took it. So someone asked me if I was scared. I was like, what, white mediocrity? I ain't never scared of that. So I want us to, in this moment, we have talked about how we feel, shared it with one another. I told you the land that you're on right now, this is the land of liberation. And I want you to consider, now that we've talked about how we feel in the land that you're on, how do we meet this moment? A couple thoughts here. Who here has heard the phrase, they tried to bury us, but they did not know that we were seeds? I want y'all to say that. If y'all haven't heard, like, I'm a call and response kind of brother. They tried to bury us, but they did not know that we were seeds. One more time for wiggles and giggles. They tried to bury us, but they did not know that we were seeds. What better place than RootsCamp to talk about sprouting seeds? To tending to the soil, to having the conversation. So what we did when we talked about how we feel, we were just thatching and weeding, right? Clearing it out so that we can have healthy soil from which to plant, right? And since it's Black history, we talk a lot about accountability. The first thing I want us to remember is that if we ain't accountable to ourselves, then how can we hold someone else accountable? And that accountability brings to mind a quote from Elder Martin Luther King, which is one of my favorites, is power without love is reckless and abusive. Are we seeing that right now? Power without love is reckless and abusive. Love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands in the way of love. Y'all heard that? We are heartbroken, angry, mad as hell, burnt the fire, we're all of these things because we care. And I'm here to tell you that to care in a time when they want you to not care is the fiercest act of revolution that exists. To keep your heart open in a circumstance that seems untenable, to find good news in a shitstorm of information, is the revolution. How do I know this? 10 and a half months ago, I almost died. I had a stroke. And that stroke forced me to get very honest with my life. I could not walk. The ability to speak to someone without being irrevocably tired was real. I couldn't have a conversation with people. I would talk to someone for 5 minutes and have to sleep for a day because my brain was just under so much stuff. And as a movement strategist, as a thought dude, I'm like, my brain, oh my God. But what did that experience give me? It gave me the opportunity to look at a horrible situation, focus on what I could control, and as they say in the Black Baptist Church, walk it out. A doctor once told me, Reggie, we don't know if you'll walk again. Y'all know what I did to that doctor? A month before that, I was just like, I didn't ask you how I heal. I asked you to tell me what my blood pressure should be, what my blood sugar should be. I will focus on what I can control. And this, what you see now, 6 months ago, I had to learn how to dorsiflex. I could not do this. This or this was not there. But guess what it is today? It's here. And it's here for display. So if you don't believe in miracles and shitty times, holler at your boy. Okay? So, in conclusion, I want to leave y'all with this. It is always darkest before the dawn. That's a biological fact. The darkest moment of the day is right before the sun ascends across the horizon. That's not hippie stuff. Look it up. And we've been here before as a nation. We've been here before as a movement. We've lost the ability to be honest about it. We've lost the ability to look power in the face and being like, yo, we didn't tell you to do that. And we're going to take your job. We're going to hold you accountable. If I had $1 for every time someone was like, I'm not calling Congress because it doesn't matter. Well, it ain't going to matter if you don't call. But to not act because you think it won't happen is doing their work for them. We are not here in this room because we believe anything they believe. We know our beliefs are poll tested at least 60%. But we haven't figured out a way to make it plain for folks. So if you remember nothing from me in this moment, remember that if you aren't honest with how you feel, how in the world can you bring the future into the present if you're holding on to the past? That's Buddhist doctrine for you. If you want to hold the present moment with love, the future is inevitability. I had to hold the vision of walking even when my physical therapist was just like, there's no movement. I'm like, it's coming. And then I was in a walker, then a cane, and Amanda Stiles walking up the stairs earlier because I had to get my steps in, right? And I'm walking upstairs just because now. So I'm sharing that to y'all because I learned that lesson in my darkest moment, that holding on to what is possible, even when it seems impossible, is our collective superpower. Do you feel that? And these people are holding on so tight. Why? What else are they going to hold on to? What are they without racism? What are they without homophobia? What are we without that? We are a beautiful collection of individuals intergenerationally, interracially in this room that believe in redeeming the soul of this nation. That is infinitely more beautiful than whatever the hell they talking about. So being rooted in that, because they tried to bury us, but what? So if we tend to our roots here at RootsCamp, emerge defiant with a civic shout. I mean, I got to put that out there, right? So shout out to Civic Shout because I believe that. The future that we hold for and hope for. Props, right. So the future that we hope for is inevitable, but it ain't inevitable if we don't believe it. So thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for coming and caring. And later on today, my contribution to RootsCamp is going to be, my studio is like 7 miles from here. I got gongs and sound bowls and things to just relax the tension. I'll leave you with this. If you remember nothing else from what I said, is this. It is a psychological operation to fry your nervous system. They want you to, they are flooding the zone to freak you out. The name of my teaching practice is called Active Peace, because when they come with that craziness, I'm just kind of like, oh, white mediocrity, cool. Oh, you're just attacking healthcare? No. Right? So being ridiculously rooted in your peace, their lives are so hollow that the currency doesn't come up against you. Right? So thank you for your attention, and I'd now like to invite, who am I inviting to the stage? Is that you, Gabe? Gabe Gonzalez.
Hola y bienvenidos. Hi, everyone. My name is Gabe Gonzalez, and I am the son of immigrants from the great country of Mexico. I was born and raised in the Rio Grande Valley in Deep South Texas. I now live in Traverse City, Michigan with my husband. I am the senior advisor for partnerships at the Institute for Responsive Government, where we work on making government work for the people. I'm actually not here to talk about myself or my work. We'll have sessions about that in the next couple of days. I am here to introduce a fellow kid of the Rio Grande Valley and someone I have the pleasure of calling a dear friend, a mentor, and someone who has very close ties to my family, but we didn't get to meet each other until we were in our 20s in the 2008 campaign cycle. She is someone that leads by example and leads with her heart. That is why I'm incredibly honored to introduce Emi Ruiz. While she has worked for several progressive political organizations, what stands out the most for me is that Emi has been part of every presidential campaign since 2008 and started out as a field organizer like many of us in the room here. And now, Emi just finished her tenure as, wait for this, a senior advisor and assistant to the president and the director of the Office of Political Strategy and Outreach for President Biden. During her time working for the Biden-Harris administration, it was astonishing to see that they were able to accomplish more in one term than most presidents are able to do in 2 terms. They fought hard to invest in every single part of our country with a focus on everyday people, creating over 16 million jobs, forgiving so much student debt, record investment in our climate and our infrastructure, and nominating and sitting Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. And that's just naming a few small things that they did. Now, please help me give a warm welcome to a dear friend and another kid from the Valley, my friend Emi Ruiz.
Hi, everyone. It is so nice to be here with you. I want to thank Gabe for that incredibly kind introduction. I love the work that we do, but it is so much sweeter when you get to do it alongside people who you love and who remind you of home. I also want to start by thanking Amy Pritchard, Stephanie, and the entire GAIN team. As Gabe mentioned, I've been doing presidential campaigns since 2007. And I don't remember a single cycle where there wasn't a job fair immediately hosted, or, Amy wasn't sending job descriptions or links or asking how she could be helpful and mentor so many of the organizers and teams that were being offboarded. And this is just another great example of the work that she has done. I also want to thank the sponsors that have been doing the work, but who also, in a time that can feel so dark and full of despair and with burnout and so many of the things that we mentioned, decided to keep moving forward and decided to give so many of us a shot in the arm by allowing us to come together in community and to be here one another. And, you know, my last thank you, I will tell you that how many of you have heard over the last few weeks, well, where are the leaders? Where are the leaders of the resistance? Where are they? Who's going to get us through this? They're in this room. They are you. Look around. I mean, was it easy for every single one of you to get here? Is the work that you have been doing day in and day out, maybe you are the people that have more money than you need to run your programs. Maybe you are the ones who have all of the offices and are flush with volunteers, and you don't even have to ask anybody for a single thing. Maybe you are those people that we've always wanted to be, but you know how hard it is. You know the work it requires and the work that it merits, and yet you do it day in and day out. You've done it before today. You did it in the last election cycle. You did it in previous, or maybe it was your first one, or maybe this is your first engagement, and you really want to get involved. But you are those leaders, and so my biggest thank you is to you for showing up and the incredible work that you have done to get us here. I'm going to try to touch on a few things before you kick off your incredible Roots Camp. And a few of that will be a little bit about myself, about this moment and where we are and where we go from here. One is, as Gabe mentioned, I was lucky enough to be a part of the Biden White House from day 1 to day 1,461, which was January 20th, 2025. And I can tell you that every single day at the White House, my colleagues and I really tried our best. And I know we're in a difficult time right now where even our tremendous accomplishments feel a little bit far from our grasp, right? But they were real, and they did happen. And part of my role and part of the great work that I was able to be a part of was building that bridge between the inside of the White House and the outside of the White House with so many of our partners, so many of you out in the States, whether you are on a campaign, a C3, a C4, whether you're a member of a union. That was our job, is to really tie in those pieces. So one, I will tell you, the Joe Biden White House would have never existed without your work. It would have never existed without our field organizers and those door knocked and those voters registered and so many of these sponsors. And that would not have happened. Our accomplishments wouldn't have happened. All of the things that you all helped us champion, but also those times where you pulled our ear and said, you need to do more, right? That ferocious accountability made a really big impact. But day in and day out, during my time in the White House, what I really tried to inhabit and to inhibit in every single thing that we did was that role of being a field organizer. I was the first field organizer hired in 2007 for Hillary Clinton in Nevada. Okay, and so I was one of those kid fanatics of Hillary Clinton. I do not even remember the first time when I first started loving her. I have always loved her. Okay, as Gabe mentioned, I grew up in the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas, and at the time I was living in San Antonio. I didn't know anything about the presidential primary process, and I learned a little bit about Iowa, New Hampshire. And I sent in my resume, and I actually said, you know, I would like to go to New Hampshire. They wear these like nice jackets. I think they're called Patagonia, North Face, and I think I would really do well there. And luckily somebody said to me, wait, you're a child of immigrants, you're a fluent First Native Spanish speaker, Latina. Yeah, you are never going to New Hampshire. We are, this is the first year there's going to be the Nevada caucus, and we're really excited. I was like, what's a caucus? But I was very, very lucky, and that job changed my life. But true, like many of us, I had no idea what I was signing up for. Y'all might think this is funny, but on my way to Las Vegas, I stopped at a Dillard's and bought suits, business suits, for my new job. Staffing Hillary Clinton. I mean, what do you think happened? That never happened. Okay, that was not real life. And of course, I traded that in for flip-flops as soon as I could, and you know, appropriate attire for the 120-degree heat. But it really changed my life, and I have really tried to bring every single one of those skills, every single one of those experiences everywhere I have gone. To me, that was when I really found my calling. And I'll talk a little bit more about being an organizer in just a bit. But I want to talk about what happened and where we are at the moment. The last thing I think any of us needs right now is just another Monday morning quarterback, right? So I'm not going to stand here and tell you what we did right or wrong, what we would have done with more time or less time, what we could do if we went back in time. And I'm sure, and I mean this with all sincerity, you all will have a lot of those conversations over the next few days. Because don't misinterpret that by saying we don't have a lot to learn. We have so much to learn from our shared experiences, from what you learned out in the different states, from what you saw, what went well, what didn't go well. But it's very, very easy in an election like this to think that everything went wrong because it feels deeply shitty, doesn't it? But I think it's equally as important to realize what has gone well and to really have a sober perspective of where we are in this moment. Okay? And so I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. There is no mandate. Okay? There is no mandate. We did lose a very, very, very important race amongst others, right, at the top of the ticket. I believe the vice president did an incredible, phenomenal job, as did every single one of the organizers and members of the different groups who gave it their all. Right? They gave it their all, and we fell short. It is also true that across the world right now, we are seeing change elections. It is also true that with the exception of 2012 and 2004, every election has been a change election in this nation, right? And so all of these things can be true. Donald Trump won the popular vote by 1.5%. Ezra Klein called it, and I quote, a squeaker. Okay? Joe Biden won it by about 4 points 4 years ago. So it's really important to remember this because even in our circles and even amongst our friends, people say, well, it was a landslide. Oh, well, they have this giant mandate. No, they don't. No, they don't. Do you know more people, of all the people that voted, every single voter in America who voted at the top of the ticket, more people voted either third party or Kamala Harris than they voted for Donald Trump. Okay? I think that that is really important to remember. I think it's really important to remember that many of us know Trump voters. Many of us know people who stayed home for good reasons, for bad reasons. One of the saddest things to me after the 2016 election is that I was lucky, well, this was not sad. I was lucky enough to continue working with Hillary. And everywhere we went, people would go up to her and say, I'm so sorry I didn't vote. I thought you had it. I'm so sorry, right? So let's put those people in a category. Let's put the people that also we must recognize people were suffering, right? Many people were suffering. Unfortunately, more will suffer now, but both of these things can be true. And some of these people were voting based on the economy. Some of these people were voting for, different reasons. But we also have to reject the premise that we are an anti-immigrant nation, that we're an anti-trans nation, that we're an we're a homophobic nation. We're a racist nation. We're not. And sure, maybe you're saying, wow, she's really good at gaslighting herself. But that is to undermine our own power and the people that we know, even people who voted in that direction. But I'll come back to that in a minute. We won. Republicans lost a good share of their Senate seats, even in states where Donald Trump won. Okay? We also picked up Senate seats in places like Arizona, in places like Michigan. So it's really, really important to remember that. Right now, the margin in the House is one of the smallest it's been in decades. Right now, House Republicans have the House by 5 seats. So that means that all Leader Jeffries needs is 3 seats to take the majority. Do you want to take a guess how many open seats there are right now? 3. Okay, now, again, you're like, wow, she's really good at gaslighting herself. I'm not saying we're going to win those seats. I think we have to give it a really big shot. Remember at the time when people thought there could not be a Democratic senator from Alabama? And then what happened? That happened, team, within the last 10 years. Okay? And so there are these opportunities that we have at our disposal. We have elections this year. We have them in New Jersey. We have them in Virginia. We have plenty of work to do. Then we have the midterms, and we have 4 more years of this, but that can all change. And what I was just saying to a friend of mine out in the hall, we need to remember that the mass destruction that he has done so far has been with the stroke of a pen. So guess what? How can we overturn it? With the stroke of a pen. And so we have that power, and it's incredibly, incredibly important to do everything we can with it. Now, I will also say, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of talk of where's the resistance? Who are our leaders? Where are we? Why doesn't it feel like 2017? Let me ask you this question. Why would it feel like 2017? Why would it? The world has changed. We have changed. And it's really, really important at this time, and that time we did a lot of great work too, but we have to get it right. And so where there are a lot of takes here, there was an op-ed last week in the Washington Post by writer Anne Lamont. She's kind of like a feel-good type of person. And she wrote this op-ed that was titled, let me find it. Sorry. Her op-ed was titled essentially, sorry, just a second. It was titled, The Resistance Will Not Be Rushed, okay? The whole concept of this op-ed was this basis of flickers of hope, right? In the same way that Reggie said, it is darkest before the dawn, right? Right now, it feels like we're in the worst blizzard of our life, and it is dark out, and we're driving. But then what happens? You see that one little flicker of light. You see a headlight in front of you, and suddenly you have a guide to get you home. Suddenly you have a guide to get you to your next destination. How many times are you in your home and you're stumbling and you can't find your phone and you can't turn the light on, and then you see a tiny flicker from the toaster, right? And that gives you a giant path. What I love about this concept is that all of these flickers are things that we can do within reason, right? This can be acts of community. This can be people who maybe haven't taken their pride flag down, who are not scared. Maybe it's people who have recently put it up. Maybe it's people who participated in Day Without an Immigrant on Monday. Maybe it is one of the thousands upon thousands of people who showed up to one of the 50 rallies across 50 states yesterday. They are all acts of resistance, and they are all opportunities for what we can do as we move forward. Maybe another act of resistance, another flicker. How many of you woke up the morning after the inauguration, stumbled to find your phone, and asking yourself, who's this bishop who is pleading for mercy for the most marginalized of communities to his face? Yeah. And she wasn't just talking to him, she was talking to us. Right? And there are so many of these flickers of hope. How many of you have heard of the name Michael Zimmer? Do you know who he is? He's the newly elected state senator in Iowa who just flipped a heavy Trump seat in Iowa. Right? And so some of these flickers are self-evident, and some of these are flickers that we have to continuously search for, right? And a lot of the flickers that I am really, really invested in right now, and maybe you are too, are those of our community. There are so many people that are going to really suffer over the next few years, right? We cannot underestimate that. We cannot undermine that. We cannot wish that away. Some of the communities that I've already mentioned, but some of the civil servants in federal government, right? Unless you are a white billionaire with passwords, apparently, to every system in the federal government, you are at risk right now. And so that act of community, those flickers of hope, those flames of warmth that we can extend one another are going to make a really big difference. And so I hope that you will continuously look for those flickers. But I will tell you that, like any good organizer, I have to end with some asks. And my ask for all of us is to really, really, really dig into our organizer roots and what that means for this moment and the long run. We're in for a marathon, right? We have to take care of ourselves. We have to look out for each other. And we have to, I think, follow some key organizing principles. One is, in order to win and rebuild, we have to add more people not less. Okay? Right now with the news, it's been really hard to see, for example, what he said about Gaza and turning it into a Riviera. You know what the easiest thing for us to do to tell some people is, I told you so. What good does that do? In fact, it does a lot of really bad things. We need more people. Now is that time to extend the hand. The other day I was at the mall, because now I have time to be at the mall. I was at the mall, okay? And I heard somebody on the phone saying, really, you regret voting for Trump? Really? And you know what I could say? Get out of here with that. I'm done with you. But you know what we should say to those people? Welcome. We need you. Let me tell you about what we're about. We're going to run into people who maybe support us 20% of the way. You know what 20% is better than? 0. And so it's really, really important for us to remember that this is a game of addition, not subtraction. Another thing as field organizers is meeting our goals, right? We meet one goal at a time. You never meet them all at once. And you cannot get through it alone. And what do we tell our volunteers? Every single person has something to contribute. Oh, you can't do it all? Don't worry. Can you do it once? Can you come just this one time? It will really help me meet my goal. It will really help me accomplish this. We have to take that same perspective with ourselves, right? It is easy to feel burnout. Not easy. It didn't happen for free, right? But it's really, really important for us to take it one step at a time and to remember every single person has something to contribute. Whether it's one of those really funny videos on TikTok where it's like white guys dressing like Mexican immigrants running through the grocery store to distract ICE. These are all acts of resistance. These are, joy is a part of that, right? Showing solidarity in all the ways that you can, or maybe in one way that you can. Maybe it is a gentle touch on somebody's shoulder saying, hey, I see you, and you're not alone. Maybe it's reposting something that is pro-trans rights, even if you don't know anybody. Let them know that you're a safe space. Let them know that you're willing to be brave and courageous for them. And you might not do that on day 1, but maybe you'll do it on day 60, and that's okay. And so let's give everyone that same ability and that same grace. How do we meet our goals? In many ways, we have to get creative, right? What happens when you first arrive at a turf? You're like, what? What do you do here? What do you mean you don't call it like the way you call it where I go back home? Who are the faith leaders? How do I get involved? Who are the people that I need to meet? What do you mean I have to get bitten by 3 dogs in order to hit my goal? What? You're relearning everything. And that is the moment that we're in right now. We have to relearn how to do some of these basic fundamentals. The terrain is constantly shifting, right? We cannot abandon a single medium. In the same way that, unfortunately, we cannot abandon some of these really horrific, irresponsible platforms. We have to remember what some of these basics are. Look at, for example, the work that the Catholic Church has done over the last few weeks in terms of being pro-immigrant. Are they where they need to be on everything? No. Can we take them on this one thing? Yes. Right? Find those unlikely partners. Do that work. Have conversations. Remember what it was like to not always fight, but to build a bridge. We all know this because of the places that we work. We do not agree with everyone. Look at our families. Not everyone agrees with everything, but we can still love one another. And I know that that's a privilege and that's not always the case for everyone. But we should try. And the last task that I would say, as being an organizer, is to remember what it was about when you first got involved. What got you to first take that action? What is your story? And remember every single story you heard after then. Every time you met with a volunteer, and a volunteer shared their healthcare story. They shared why they care so much about the environment. They shared, X testimonial. That was like a moral contract that you made with them, right? To carry it on and to fight with them. That does not expire on election day. That wasn't just, hey, shake your hand, come do this shift. Good luck to us if we win, amazing, and if we don't, awkward. It wasn't that, right? These commitments keep going and keep moving. And so I ask you to please, please remember that and to stay in the game and to do everything you can to keep us moving forward. And that will mean very different things for every single one of us. And that will mean very different things for the people that we know and that we love and that have been members of these teams. But it is very important that we all stay involved and stay engaged and that we do it together. People will ask me, do you think we'll make it out of this? Can we make it out of this? And what I always say is we have to. We have no choice. I'm a mom, and guess what? I don't accept this trash for my kids. I don't. And you know what? I'm going to fight every single day for a world worthy of them, not the other way around. And so I ask that we please do this together. And for the rest of your life, you'll be able to say, well, you know, Emmy Ruiz begged me. And so I thank you. I beg you. I look forward to hearing so many of your learnings and learning from you and the incredible work that you're doing. But look no further than this room for who is going to lead us out of this one. And we will make it out sooner than everyone knows it. So thank you very, very much.
One more time, thank you, Emmy. I'd like to now welcome to the stage the Executive Director of Gain Power. I could read their bio, but I'll let them talk for themselves. One thing I will say about Stephanie, in addition to all the things she's done in politics, she's also a practitioner of yoga and meditation, which is essential in the psychological warfare we find ourselves. Stephanie.
All right, well, again, I just want to welcome you, everyone here, to this amazing space. My name is Stephanie Noguera, and I'm the Executive Director at Gain Power. Thank you very much. So for those of you who don't know, Gain Power is a resource center and a virtual space for progressive democracy, talent, campaigns, and organizations in our space. We're also a space for folks to find opportunities, whether it's this event or a job or staff for the next operation you'll be running. We're here for you. So I just want to make sure you look for me when we're out there at the tables at our Gain Power station, okay? And I also want to do one more huge round of applause, okay? This is really, really important. I want to recognize the RootsCamp organizing staff, the team, Amy Pritchard, the countless volunteers who are literally surrounding us today and helping this happen, all of you and all of our amazing speakers. So again, thank you so much. And I'll be brief. I think following Reggie, Amy, and Emmy is kind of a tough one, but I'm so grateful for all of you to be here, and thank you for speaking. I first began my organizing career in the New Hampshire primary, 2003, for Howard Dean. Okay, thank you. And I learned a lot. And I think what I want to say is that in that time, I've seen a lot. Ups, downs as an organizer, which I was, and I still consider myself. And one thing that I want to say is that through all of it, through the losses and the wins, the thing that really got me through, because even when you win, there's this period of, a period of time where you're still trying to figure out, like, what's your next step and what are we doing and what's the plan, right? And it's even harder when you lose, right? The one thing that really helped me was community. When I'd call my team that I used to work with in the field office or my volunteers that helped, everything work, it was community. And so I'm so happy to be here and be even a small part of this community, this event, and this operation. So I hope that you'll look for me again out in the hall at our Gain Power table. And while we're here, as Emmy noted, since we're organizers, I am going to leave you with one action item while I'm up here. I would love for every single person here in this room today, all right, before we leave the venue, to go to gamepower.org, all right? And there, you're going to find one of our banners talking about our next Powerful Idea Awards, okay? So TBD on date, location, that will be coming after Roots Camp. But please submit a nomination for someone that you think deserves some recognition in this past cycle. That's what the purpose of these awards are for. It's honoring our work, right? Our people, the people that, deserve to be recognized every cycle, and it's just something that I want you to think through. Just takes a few minutes, and then you can come see me as well if you have any questions at all. But we'd love to have every single person here submit at least one nomination by the end of the day. Gamepower.org. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.
I got to admit, I was also stoked that I can come to an unconference in a sweatsuit. Like for all the years that I had to have my hair did and a tie. Woo! Today is Juneteenth. So, in that spirit of loving liberation, it is now my honor to welcome to the stage, with brief introduction, our keynote speaker for the time here. This individual needs no introduction from me, but I will offer a little bit of texture about how I know this icon and beautiful being in our movement. Heather Booth is a friend. Heather Booth will call you at 11:30 in the morning and tell you what she's thinking. She'll also call you at 8:30 and ask you if you thought about what she told you need to be thinking about. With love, right? Like every time Heather calls, if I miss the call, I'm mad at myself because I wanted to hear what she had to say. Heather is an icon in this space, like organizer par excellence that has stories that she probably forgot about, which has wisdom that we need now. And Heather is a partner, a fellow partner in Democracy Partners. Heather is always there for us, and it's my honor to be able to be here for you, Heather Booth.
But you are the leaders, because when we organize with love for each other at the center, then we can change the world. And you are the world changers. Hear it for you. Applause for you and the lives you lead. By the way, Emmy Ruiz is one of the great leaders I have followed. I thank her again for her leadership, the years she has engaged us so far, and for what she will do with us as our partners in the future. Thank you so much again. We are meeting at a difficult time. We face horrific challenges. Sometimes they overwhelm. Deportation, family separation, attacks on unions and federal employees, taking away reproductive freedom, ending progress on climate change, encouraging violence to resolve political differences, taking away our health care to give tax breaks to the wealthy donors, turning Gaza into beachfront development against the will of those who live there, and more than that. We're in the middle of a coup. Elon Musk, an unelected billionaire oligarch, is illegally and unconstitutionally taking control of the Treasury's payment system that handles $6 trillion annually and among the most sensitive of our private information. He's shutting down USAID, a government agency created by Congress. They pose a threat to our health care, education, safety, and our lives. They want to rob us of our education, our learning, and our history. They want to take our personal information and seek retribution against those they disagree with. They want to steal our money and give it to the wealthy donors. But this is where they lay the basis for us to win if we organize. Because this is not what people voted for. This is not what the American people want. The American people want health care we can afford. They don't want insurance companies deciding our fate. We do want assault weapons off the street. Over 70% want that. They don't want greater violence threatening our lives. We do want ways to address climate with the fires in California and the floods in Florida. They don't want corporations poisoning our water and air. They don't want politicians in our bedrooms as they threaten an effective national abortion ban by taking away Food and Drug Administration approval for the most commonly used medicine that's now used for birth control and abortion, mifepristone. The American people don't want to have outbreaks of polio or measles or avian flu because we stopped the regulatory review and preparation. Yes, there are violent attackers in the opposition, but most people want a more caring society. Most people want us to know that we are fighting for them and we are fighting together. And you are the fighters for the American people. So many in this country now are dispirited and have diminished hope that change is possible, but you make change possible. We need to be agents of hope as we are agents of change, and to bring that message to people every day. It's why RootsCamp is so important. It's why Amy Pritchard and this whole crew is so important. It's why you're important in what you do. And when we fight, when we organize, that's when we win. I saw this and learned this lesson first when I was in the early civil rights movement. By 1964, I was with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. I was one of the northern students who was recruited to go south to Mississippi for the Freedom Summer Project, and some of you may have heard about that. The summer gained notoriety. Who's heard about the Freedom Summer Project? The project gained notoriety when 3 of the young volunteers, Andrew Goodman, James Chaney, and Michael Schwerner, were killed at the hands of the Klan. At 18 years old, and being very law-abiding, I was arrested for the first time, become one of many, very law-abiding still, when I was supporting a voter registration drive because the illegal sheriff wanted to close it down. It seemed impossible. People were being tortured and threatened and killed. How could you make progress? But within a year, we won a Voting Rights Act because people organized. When we organize, we've changed this world. Now there's a pushback on those rights. But when we organize, we still make that change. After the summer project, I returned to my campus in Chicago in 1965. And a friend of mine told me his sister was pregnant and not ready to have a child, and could I help him find someone to provide an abortion? In 1965, it was a much more innocent time. I'm not sure I ever discussed the issue of abortion with anyone. I didn't quite know, but at that time, 3 people even talking about abortion in Chicago was a conspiracy to commit a felony. I didn't really know what to do, but I said I'd do what I could. So I went to the civil rights movement and their medical arm, the Medical Committee for Human Rights, and found a doctor, an extraordinary doctor, Dr. T.R.M. Howard. He's a name we should remember. There's so many heroes whose names we may not know. He had been a civil rights leader in Mississippi. I didn't know this at the time. But he had to leave Mississippi when his name appeared on a Klan death list, because he had called for such things as the investigation into the murder of Emmett Till, who many of you may have heard of, the teenager from Chicago who was killed when he was visiting his aunt in Mississippi because a white woman said he had whistled at her. And even in the last few years, she recanted and said even that wasn't true. So I found Dr. Howard. We made the connection. He provided the service. And I thought that was it. That was all I would be involved with. But word must have spread and someone else called. I made the arrangement again And then word spread and someone else called, and I realized I had to create a system. That's what organizers do. We create systems and organizations for larger numbers of people. And because it was illegal, we called the system Jane. And we said, pregnant don't want to be, called Jane. There's much more to the story, but over time, the women I recruited into providing this service for others, first consulting, counseling, then learned how to provide the abortions. And between 1965 and 1973, the women of Jane themselves performed over 11,000 abortions before Roe. When we organize, we've changed this world against enormous odds. But we need to organize. And now there's a pushback on this most intimate freedom in a person's life, the question of when or whether we have a child. But the American public support us in that decision. And when we organize, we have changed this world. Right now, it is a world-changing time. I often wondered, what would I do if I was in 1933 Germany and I knew Nazis were coming to power and they said what they would do and it seemed unbelievable. Whatever we think we would do then is what we would do now. Some wonder, well, what would you have done if you lived during the time of the civil rights movement? Not everyone was involved. But what would you do now is what you would have done then. We are the people who have changed this world and can change this world, but only when we organize. I think now there are 3 prime principles to guide us through this period of what we need to do. Many, many actions, but 3 principles to guide us of principled action. 1, I think we have to stay united, even across differences, but build a movement that has love at the center for each other, for ourselves, and for a broader movement. And if we are together, we can figure out where we go, even as we make mistakes, even as we don't fully agree, but we are united for justice, for freedom, and for equality for all. Number 2, we do need to fight back and protest, defense and offense, all at the same time on the issues that you care about, on small actions and big actions. Just a small sampling of what's happened in the last week. Can you imagine? It's not even been 3 weeks. It feels like a month, a year. This week at the Treasury, in an action called by Indivisible, Move On, and Working Families Party, there may have been 3,000 people or more, and that was after a call Sunday night with 50,000 people on the call. 3,000 showed up. It was an extraordinary demonstration. Leader Jeffries has called for congressional district events, meeting with members and grassroots organizations, meeting with you. If you haven't heard, if you're in an area with a Democratic member of Congress and you haven't heard from them, call them and arrange those conversations, arrange those visible events. Hundreds showed up on the LA freeway, Freeway 101, to stand with immigrants against attack. Their fight is our fight. They stood for security at the border and a pathway to citizenship. There are lawsuits being filed. We're grateful that we were able to pass, and Emmy, thank you so much for part of the role that you all played at the administration. We had 234 judges approved in the last 4 years. There were demonstrations around the country in all 50 states. Emmy mentioned it before. On February 5th, organized through Discord, just people kept saying, who is it? Where is it? Is it what? It's all over. The movement is all over. It's rising. Members of Congress and Senate showed up at USAID headquarters to protest Musk's illegal actions at that agency. The AFT, the NEA, will be mobilizing to save our education. Their fight is our fight. Public Citizen Litigation Group and State Democracy Defenders Fund, the Alliance for Retired Americans, American Federation of Government Employees, Service Employees, and the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees filed suit against the Department of Treasury for sharing confidential data with the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, by Elon Musk. The list goes on and on. The AFL-CIO is launching today the Department of People Who Work for a Living, DPWL for short, built to unite working class people and stand up against these attacks. There are demonstrations going on either right now or just before this conference started at the Environmental Protection Agency and around the country. There's organizing on the tax campaign, building for events around the country over President's Day weekend we can join in. Today is a day for Medicaid action, and calls are going on. There's transactions, including successful legal challenge to Trump's prisoner redesignation and the challenge to military denial of medical care. We need to promote all we're doing and all the outrages on social media daily. We can get out the message. It's how so many get the news. As the Trump tariff increases the cost of our food, we can also expose, and a friend of mine, Deepak Puri, is creating an egg calculator. There'll be the cost of food compared now to what it was a year ago as the prices go up with the action that they are creating. They are laying the basis for us to rise, for the seeds to flower. Social media networks gear up with billions of impressions. We can grind the gears down with all the power we have. We can protest, we can refuse, we can expose and slow them down when we organize. So the first is love at the center. The second is action. And the third is long-term organizing. We do need to build for political power and convert our organizing on the ground and in the air and online into political power. By 2026, we can take back the Congress. There are 21 districts where there are Republicans who won by 5% or less of the vote. As Emmy said, this was a close election. People are with us. If we organize, we can make that new majority. Trump won by only 31.5% of all eligible voters. Emmy said how it was a close election. That means 69.5% of the country didn't vote for him. We just need to organize. Most people in this country don't support proposals to cut Social Security, Medicare or Medicaid, veterans benefits, food for the hungry, or to give tax breaks to the wealthy billionaires and the donors and the large corporations that supported Trump. But to move that opinion and to turn it into power, we need to organize. There were 18 million people who voted for President Biden the first time and did not vote the second time. Who didn't vote. We need to organize. It's only been 3 weeks, and the overload is disorienting, dispiriting, and depressing. That's what it's designed to do. It's designed to divide us. But I love this community particularly because you can make the change to meet the moment. And when you organize with love at the center, that's when we've changed this world. And that's when you will change this world. I so look forward to coming back together again and celebrating our victories together. Thank you. I also wanted to particularly thank some of the staff who helped me, Anaya Dennis and Tayan Booker particularly helped me, and also all the staff. It's just so wonderful, but it's often the people behind the stage, behind the scenes, who you don't see. So again, a round of applause for Amy, the heart of the movement, Amy Pritchard, the heart of our movement. And I wanted to leave you with one poem. It's a poem by Marge Piercy called The Low Road. What can they do to you? Whatever they want. They can set you up, they can bust you, they can break your fingers, they can burn your brain with electricity, they can blur your mind with drugs till you can't walk, can't remember. They can take your child, wall up your lover. They can do anything you can't stop them from doing. How can you stop them? Alone you can fight, you can refuse, you can take what revenge you have, but they roll over you. But two people fighting back to back can cut through a mob. A snake dancing file can break a cordon. An army can meet an army. Two people can keep each other sane, can give support, conviction, love, massage, hope, sex. Three people are a delegation, a committee, a wedge. With four, you can play bridge and start an organization. With six, you can rent a whole house, eat pie for dinner with no seconds, and hold a fundraising party. A dozen make a demonstration. 100 fill a hall. 1,000 of solidarity in your own newsletter. 10,000 power in your own paper. 100,000 your own media. 10 million your own country. It goes on one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again after they said no. It starts when you say we, and you know who you mean, and each day you mean one more. Thank you for organizing one more and one more.
How about one more time for Heather Booth, please? So we've reached the end of our time together, and because I am this magical, it's 444, so make a wish. There's the planets are in a line in the sky. Make a wish. Shit's happening that we don't even understand, right? So as we bring this to a close, I want us to put a finer point on what we've learned. One, is there a mandate? No. Are y'all convinced of that? Is there a mandate? No. Okay, there are my organizers. Is there a mandate? No! Okay, thank you. And when we organize, we can change the world? Who believes that? Put something behind it. When we organize, we can change the world. Who believes that? Okay. And lastly, we can't do anything without love at the center. So who here has been in a yoga class with me? All y'all about to be. And here's what I mean by that. I make it super accessible, because if you had told me 10 years ago, Reggie, you're going to teach and practice yoga, I was like, my big black ass, for real? They allow us to do that? Yeah, we created it. Anyway. I digress. This isn't that talk. But how you feel in your body is directly impacting for your quality of work. So you can't give love from the center if you ain't got it. So we're going to love on ourselves for about a minute. Y'all cool with that? Cool. I want you to take 30 seconds. So you spend most of the day probably like this. Right, on your computer. Assume that position, please. And feel how shitty this feels. Oh my goodness, you angry because your back hurt. It ain't got a goddamn thing to do with Donald Trump. Like, you turn into a wrestler for that, right? So give yourself the gift of shoulder movement. Sassy if you want to, because Beyonce told them about themselves. Right, but movement in the shoulders, because you can't be in a movement if you don't have movement, right? So shoulder, this opens up the heart. Get comfy with your neighbor, rub some elbows, right? shun it, embrace it. Now take heated hands to your hands. Because unless you've been in class with me, you ain't never done this shit. No, I'm good. Thank you, though. I got you. Clap. Friction in the palm. Again, embracing friction for the curated experience that it is. These people want friction? Not here. And then take heated hands to your heart, because love can't be at the center if you aren't in touch with your heart. You heard? Deep inhale here. Exhale clear. Clap. Friction in the palms, good trouble. Now notice where you've got tension in your body, and take your energy to you. For me, my low back is like, Reggie, stop talking to them and pay attention to me. So where do you need your good energy? Last one, clap. Good trouble, create friction. Then take heated hands to your face. I know. Maybe you've been crying. Maybe you've been angry crying. But bless the eyes. Our eyes are overstimulated and overused these days. Give them a break. Love on the thing that connects you to one another. Deep inhale here. Exhale clear. Now notice how you feel after that 90-second, 2-minute yoga class. A little bit better? All right. So to set the vibe from where we go from here, I'm going to for real clear the space. So this bowl is around 150, 200 years old. So think of the wisdom that's in this sound. That ain't got no words. Y'all, when the currency of the realm is lies, you know what makes it bankrupt? Truth. When the currency of the realm is noise, you know what makes it bankrupt? Sound and silence. So I'm going to play this bowl 3 times. I want you to, the first time, perceive it. The second time, imagine someone you know going through distress. Send them this piece. And the third one's for the conference. Cool? All right. Receive this. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, let something go. Send this forward. In through your nose. Exhale for real. And this last one is a blessing on this conference. May community and love be the energy from which all ideas emerge. Thank you for the chance to be of service. Peace and blessings.
Okay, I feel great. How do y'all feel? So we're just going to do some orientation things. Hopefully you all will participate where you're needed. We can get to know each other a little better. And if there's a theme for what we've been doing here thus far, I feel like that word is community. So let's get in community together. So we're going to, we've done a great centering. Thank you so much. I needed that. We're going to talk about some quick logistics. We're going to do some norms. We're going to talk about caucuses, and then we're going to get our grub on. So, Roderick, you ready to talk logistics, volunteers?
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon.